Okay, good morning and welcome back to another session of business research. And today we'll try to complete Unit 2. And in Unit 2, you remember in last time we discussed different types of research. And the research we talk about exploratory research, where we discuss that if you have something which may be something new, which may be different, and nobody has yet explored that. So that is somewhere you need to develop, you need to design, you need to explore. So that we have discussed in the exploratory research. So once you have explored something, you have discovered something, now you need to tell people this look like this, it has got this kind of ingredient, this kind of content, this kind of feature. So that is basically a descriptive. And then further, Uh, if you have discovered a particular phenomena, particular relationship, particular logic, then you test that logic, that particular phenomena, that philosophy in a different environment, in different community, different system, different organization, and you will be testing it to justify that in this organization also logic work like the way it has been working in other society, other phenomena, or someone has proposed a particular theory, proposed a particular logic. That logic is still relevant in your research, or maybe it's not relevant in your research. So in that case you can again start with exploring new idea that in this research, in this community, in this society, variables are different, that's why this logic is not working. So because of these variables, something new you can propose. So this is like exploring something, describing, then test it, and if there is some variation, then go again and explore something. So that is what we have discussed in the last class. Today gonna be a very important discussion because we all are in commerce, we all are in management. So we need to describe management oriented issues, management oriented problem, and then step by step go ahead and find out solution and how we can use research to find out solution to management problem. So yeah, my what slides?
Yes, sir.
My
Yes,
slides
sir.
are not visible. Let me share it again. Okay. So this is today discussion topic. Let me. Okay, this is Unit 2, and today we'll discuss about management problem specifications and then formulating research problem. So what is this management problem specification? So in management, actually, in business and commerce also, yes, we are talking about marketing. Yes, we are dealing in finance, but more than that, we are talking about human resource also, because money will remain money if you don't use it. Other resources will remain a kind of resources until unless human beings, they feel it, they touch it, they use it, and use for some purpose. And here when we use these all resources, whether it's some money, finance, or marketing, or to produce goods and services, raw material, what we need to do, we need to go through a particular process. And whenever we go through a particular process, you will see uh, management is required, and who will manage this all resources? Human being. So that human resource management is also required in that. And when we use human resource, what happens? The question arises, how to use all the resources at optimum level. So that is management, that cost would be minimum, efforts would be minimum, your outcome and output would be maximum. So that may be with the help of some technique, maybe with the help of some tools and techniques in management. Like in management, we talk about planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. So these all are tools and techniques. So as a scholar, as a researcher, what we need to do, we need to find out that why these resources are, we all aware of that resources are limited and our needs and wants are unlimited. So on the one side we have limited resources, on the other side we have unlimited needs and wants. In between we have human behavior. So human behavior towards limited resources and unlimited needs and wants is actually a economics. Please note down everybody, this is all about economics. What is economics? It's a human behavior towards limited resources and unlimited needs and wants. So you need to decide, if you see a person who is trying to keep some balance between limited resources, maybe in terms of money, maybe in terms of efforts or other resources, whatever we can procure from the nature, and on the other side, whatever we are producing or whatever needs and wants we have. So that reflection of a human being is called economics. So economics is also somewhere linked with our management, or we can say vice versa, management is somewhere there in economics also. And the most important thing in economics, commerce, business is that all these terms we need to manage. For example, there was one organization. The organization employees turnover is high, right? Or maybe instances where revenue is quite good but profit is less. There may be another case study where people generally feel that when we think of performance of an organization, it is linked with success of an organization. Success means maximum revenue, maximum market share, right? So this is what it's linked with the success of the organization. And when you have reached at certain level in terms of success, in terms of revenue, in terms of profit, then you will see a happiness will come, or maybe something which you are looking for will come in the organization. So in organization we measure the success in terms of profit or maybe in terms of losses, but as far as individual is concerned, we measure a success in terms of education, maybe income, that could be another parameter. But because these things are very personal, is it vary from person to person, very individual to individual. Now for another guy, a success may be something which is not money, which is not at all linked with the money, or maybe not linked with the profit, maybe not linked with the education. Okay. So we are talking about management problem specification. And what is this management problem specification? Basically, we are talking about management as a domain. And as a domain, can we apply management in finance? Can we apply management in marketing? Can we apply management in human resource? Can we apply management in MIS? So you see all functions of business, whether it's a production, marketing, finance, right? These all functions, one layer of management is required. So whatever we do in business, or as I have already defined the term called economics, you will see somewhere human reflection, human behavior is important. So when human beings, they reflect on a particular issue which is linked with money, or maybe in terms of finance or marketing, or the employee's behavior or employer behavior, or when you work as an individual, when you work as a member of a particular group or a team, it's very natural you will see some kind of issue arise, some kind of problem arises. So problem may be in terms of human resource, which is kind of training and development program required, maybe in terms of leadership skills, maybe in terms of motivation, what kind of motive you are offering to your employees, the work culture, diversity. So this is very specific to human resource. Then comes to marketing. In marketing, when you think of marketing, Generally, people feel marketing is all about selling goods, or maybe the other variable could be advertising. So, what about other ingredients of marketing? So, we need to think all possible parameters, all dimensions of a business, and then see from management point of view what kind of problems are there. Is it linked, this problem linked with human resource? Is this problem linked with finance? Is this problem linked with human resource, or maybe a finance, production, marketing, MIS, or information? So and now you have identified that problem. Now you can ask that how to identify a problem, because I never been to that organization. I was not a part of that organization. So how do I know that this kind of issue, this kind of problem, this kind of challenges is there? So for one example, generally people conduct a research on CSR, corporate social responsibility. So, or maybe a CRM, customer relationship management. Or what they do, they go for a panel data, they see a trends in past 10 years. For example, BRICS, before and after BRICS, the performance of these countries, those who are member of BRICS. So they collect data for 10 years before the BRICS and 10 years after the BRICS, and then see the result. So this is what basically we are trying to propose some kind of propose some kind of uh, what do you call basis, or some kind of base to, or we are proposing something that okay, this has been done, or this may be in future. On the basis of our research, we are giving you some kind of prediction, we are forecasting on the basis of data. Or if it is a very specific problem, then these kind of possible solution we are offering. So first what we need to do, we need to find out management problem. And from where we can see this management problem? Very easy. The first thing, generally you will see government of India, they have different organization. And these different organization, for example, if you want to work in export import, we have ITPO, International Trade Promotion Organization. So they conduct different kind of research, and then they tell you that this kind of problems are arising. Maybe a problem related with export or import, promotion of goods and services abroad. So each and every organization which if these organizations are linked with your domain, your area of expertise, then read their reports, maybe annual reports of that organization. For example, we have Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. They also conduct a lot of research on foreign trade. So when you think of a foreign trade, it's not about risk in terms of finance, in terms of credit, right? So we have one organization called ECGC, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, which this organization take care of your financial risk. So when you want to enter into a particular domain, for each and every domain you will see a government organization. These government organization, time to time, they conduct a research, and they publish a report, annual report also, that these kind of management problem, management issues has been arise. That could be a source of your management problem. Very simple way to find out that what kind of management problems are arising. So if you are in export and import, I had given you clue. Similarly, when you think of other domain of business, maybe production, maybe marketing, maybe finance. So what you need to do, you just think of the organization, those who are working on this kind of domain. These organization, time to time, they publish a report, maybe an annual report or maybe some other report. These report actually help you to find out or to search some issues, some problem. The second source of management problem may be you go through newspaper, Business Standard or Economics Times. These newspaper write some case study, give you information that this kind of challenges, this kind of problem a particular organization have been facing, or this kind of new trend has been arise. So people, they need to conduct a research. Third, very reliable source is called review of literature. What kind of work have been done, and these article, these news, these research paper, they gave you at the end limitation and one, three, four lines, one small paragraph on future research, that this was my limitation, I couldn't perform this kind of research, but in future other researcher can work, and on the basis of my work they can carry it forward and do another kind of work. So these are three main sources of management problem, management related very specific problems of management, and management is applicable in all business domain, whether it's a marketing, whether it's a finance, human resource, MIS, or others also. Now question arises how to formulate this research problem. Now you saw in the newspaper there is some issue, there is some problem. Or nowadays a lot of people, they have been working on startup. So in startup, what kind of challenges you have, what kind of problems you have. So you will see 2-3 years back I saw one article. An article says that 95% startup, they lose their identity within next 6 months. So remaining 10%, they somehow survive. So this give you some kind of understanding that government on the one side is promoting startup, but we are not able to develop that kind of ecosystem so that each and every individual, those who can think of a startup, can survive. So this is a big issue. This is a big issue that you need to find out that what kind of challenges these students are, finding, what kind of challenge they are facing. There was another research where, just think of 5 or 6 7 years back, B schools student, they were not interested at all in going for entrepreneurship or startup. But now see, the B school student, 5 to 10% student of a B school, instead of going to job for MNCs, what they do, 5 to 10% they actually go for their own startups. So what motivated them? Is it the ecosystem? Is it the kind of facility provided by government? So what are these facility? What is that which actually motivating the B school students to enter into startup? So that is what. Now you are into a domain where you find out some management problem and then slowly move into formulating a research problem. So from management problem to a research problem. Now why a lot of students, they are entering into startup, and they all are from B schools, and B schools, it's a perception that you will have a good job after you complete your degree or diploma, whatever you do. But still a lot of students, they are preferring to go for. So this is what management issue, that yes, there is a transformation from looking jobs to providing jobs. So to find out more about this formulating research problem, how to formulate this research problem once you have seen a management problem. So here you can see we need to develop a research problem. So first, what you need to do, you need to talk about research objectives, that these are my research objectives, and these research objectives would be based on the existing research problem. So don't do research just for the sake of research, conducting a research. Find out some problem, find out some issue, maybe in locality, particular community, or maybe in a particular organization, and that the perspective of problem should be, it should have some management orientation, that you are going to manage something, you are going to provide some solution to a particular problem. So now you have problem, what are the objective of this problem, And as we already have discussed that we conduct a research where we collect data, we do some analytical study, empirical study. So we collect some data and actually propose some hypothesis. What other information we need, and what is this research design once you have decided objectives. So this is what developing a research proposal. And this is actually we are talking about the second point, formulating research problem. So now you have research problem. Slowly we will enter into objective, hypothesis, information, and determining research design. So what we're going to cover in this today, what is research? Not much time. You all are aware of this science, natural science. Just 1 or 2 minutes. Scientific way of research. Types of research already we have discussed. Just 1 or 2 more idea about that. Very important thing. Very, very important thing. We already have discussed a little bit about that. But if you are still confused about what is concept, what is construct, what is variable, then we can put more light on that. And then finally, proposition and hypothesis. What before we complete our discussion today, one more point. Yes, theory, models, and research questions. So if we are able to done this all today, we would be able to finish our second unit. So we need to go a bit fast. And let me continue with our discussion today. And here you can see, you all are aware of, I'm not going to put much light on this. What is research? It contributes to a body of science and it follows the scientific method. So it's not only in pure science, it's in social science also, it's in commerce, business also, that you have a system, you have theory, you have a process. So you are going to use same process, same system, or you are proposing a different system, different process. So if you are offering different process, different system, that means you are contributing to the existing body of the science. And what is this scientific method? Scientific method means you have design particular process, and that process is acceptable everywhere on this earth when you think of conducting a research in social science. So you are using, for example, very simple example, what sampling method you have used. So that is a scientific method. You will justify that this is the reason I have used this sampling method. What is sampling size of your research? On the basis of this, you need to justify that okay, this is my sampling size. So this is what a scientific way of conducting a research. Science you are all aware of. Science, systematic and organized body of knowledge. Scientific methods. Science are two broad categories: natural science, social science. Natural science, physics, chemistry, earth science, life science. We are not into that. We are into actually a social science. So what is social science? The beauty of social science is that here, science of people, it's all about people. It's all about collection of people. It's about group. It about society. It's about economics. Economics, I already have defined. It's about human behavior towards unlimited needs, wants, and limited resources. So you need to reflect on, you need to decide that on the one side we have limited resource, on the other side we have unlimited needs, wants. So this is what the way you react, the way you behave, it's called economics. And their individual or collective behavior. So see, when you think of science, science is very easy because things remain constant. Most of the things remain constant. But when you talk about social science, here you see things are so dynamic, it's so personal, it's very person to person. So research in social science is gonna be a very, very difficult task. Very simple example, a particular stimuli may motivate me, or the same stimuli may not motivate another guy at all. But in science, it's a very standardized. If it is working for one, it should work for other also. But in social science, it's not so. It's not so. Each and every phenomena may be different. So what do you need to do? You need to find out, you need to check whether this phenomena is still relevant or not, or this phenomena is actually applicable or not in your theory, in your research, or when you collect data from a particular group or particular community or particular people of a particular society or a community. So you can say that this theory may be great, this theory is perfect, this logic is perfect in a particular society or community, but according to my representative of a community which I am working on, the things are bit different, things vary here. The reason you need to dig, the reason you need to give, and that would be a justification of your problem. So that is the beauty of social science, that is the beauty of commerce business, that here you are talking about people, here you are talking about that how to optimize the different resources. Because when you think of one resource, using this resource in a particular environment, it's not necessary that all these variables which you can see are actually impacting on your performance. There may be some invisible variables also which you cannot think of, which you cannot you know plan, which you cannot justify. So you need to go ahead and find out those variables which actually directly or indirectly affecting your main domain or main variables. So here you need to talk about psychology of people, consumers, employees, whether they would like to work as an individual or they are part of an organization as a team member. As I mentioned, that success for an individual may be more and more and more and more money, more and more and more education. And some people say why student they don't want to come to school or colleges because it's very boring. I was watching one program, and here one person from Bangkok, he said that I don't want to go to university because university is so boring. So I quit that degree, and I came back to my village. So where if you think of a job, you need to work for 8 hours, a lot of stress, and what, why you are working? You are working to have your livelihood, and that livelihood, he said that if you are in a village, you're not supposed to work for 8 hours, whole year. Every day you need to work for 8 hours, but if you are in a village, you need to work for 2 hours every day, and you will have sufficient food, you will have other resources also. So it depends person to person, what motivate them and what is their psychology, how do they perform in as an individual, how do they perform, what are they like, what are their dislikes. It's very difficult, very difficult. Psychology, sociology, economics are our cup of tea in social science. So this scientific knowledge, body of laws, theories. Laws are observed pattern of phenomena or behavior. Theories are systematic explanation of the understanding phenomena or behavior. So science on the one side, it's standardized law, pattern of a phenomena that it has been performed like this, that becomes principle, that or that behavior become a principle. Now what is this theory? This theory is basically a logic explanation of a particular phenomena, systematic explanation of the phenomena or a behavior, why people behave in a certain way, why this particular phenomena look like this, why people in a particular phenomena behave, react, interact in such a way. That is explanation of that is, or the logic of that is actually a theory. Now this we already have discussed. Why we are all discussing all this research? Basically, actually what is the reality, nobody knows at all. Nobody knows because we all are outsider. What we do, we are here, we need to presume reality. So this actual reality, we are not sure about it, what is that, and so we presume that, and then with the help of some theory, we develop some theory that this phenomena pattern is like this. So that is basically a logical conjecture. And as our role start from here, actually we measure this, analyze data, and give some observation. That is the observed reality. So observed reality have to make comparison between presumed reality and actual reality and try to bring this very close, so that whatever we presume, whatever we observe, so is this whatever we observe, it is actually as per what we presume? That is the big question mark here, because whatever data analysis information has revealed, it may or may not be equivalent to presumed reality. So first you need to go and see whether you are equivalent to presumed reality. If yes, then go to actual reality, and actual reality you are not sure because you don't know what is this actual reality. So the whole process revolve around this particular slide, that we all are trying to come close to actual reality. So okay, so this is actual reality, presumed reality, logical conjecture. So it's a detail of all these parameters: actual reality, presumed reality, logical conjecture, and then measurement and research design, analysis of data, observe reality versus conjectures. So theory, we already have discussed that this is a kind of logic, systematic way of discussing, defining, describing a particular phenomena, right? So okay, various part of theory, not going to discuss. Okay, this is something we need to discuss. If you are able to understand this, that means 70-80% you understand research now. This is the basic things. So first is a domain. Concept remains same, but the context where you're gonna use that particular concept may vary. I hope you agree with me. So here domain may vary from particular place to another place, individual to individual, phenomena to another phenomena. So domain may be different here, because here we are taking the different perspective, right? So for example, success. Which domain of success you are talking about? The concept as far as success is concerned, it remains same. Success means success. But success in terms of education, so education is a domain. Money or income, so that is another domain, right? So or for example, performance, in what sense you're talking about? So concept is a performance. So which context you're talking about as far as this performance is concerned? So performance in terms of that you are highly qualified, so that is the education domain. You are highly successful in, or your performance is good in terms of, you measure that in terms of that he got or she got huge amount of money. So that is another domain, financial domain. So we'll talk about this. Let us go ahead and let us discuss one by one all this. This you all aware of. I know we already have discussed this. We are into a two kind of research. On the one side, right side, you see hypothesis. On the left side, you see this. We already have discussed induction and deduction. Okay, so this we discussed in the last class. You remember exploratory research, new area of inquiry. So this you already know, that something new which people are not aware of, or you need to show some new phenomena, describe some new phenomena. So okay, just see the second unit. The last point is about qualitative and quantitative. So here this is exploratory research plus a qualitative research. I hope you remember we discussed exploratory research, and we wanted to explore a concept called violence. So violence is actually a is a high domain, or what you call high dimension concept. So where violence may vary from person to person, and here violence may be physical, violence may be psychological, violence may be emotional, violence may be in terms of sexual, Violence may be in financial. So which domain violence you are talking about? Are you taking domain, physical domain of violence, psychological domain of violence, emotional domain of violence, financial domain of violence, or social legal domain of violence? So here we are actually, what we are doing, we are trying to understand what is violence. And it cannot be in terms of quantitative data you collected and then you say that okay, this is physical. What you need to do here, you see, we have in-depth interview to understand this violence concept, to understand this physical concept, to understand this psychological concept. From physical concept, we understand what is violence. From psychological point of view, understand what is violence. From emotional point of view, we are trying to understand what is violence. To understand this violence term, what we need to do, we need to talk people. So we have in-depth interview for 2 to 8 hours. And this interview would not be some kind of structured interview. First question, then from first question, second, third, fourth. So you have a discussion, you have an interview, and then some question comes in your mind during the interview. And here you see, you're not going to go to so many people, just 8 families. And here you see the concept of violence on women. So here what we are doing, we are understanding the concept of violence. So domain here is violence domain towards the woman, right? And here you see this is basically a construct, because when if I request you to define violence, you cannot define violence with one dimension, that this is violence. Violence will have different domain, like subdomain: physical, psychological, emotional, sexual, financial, social, legal, right? So here we are exploring the term called violence, that is basically a construct. So here this is a kind of qualitative, where we talk to people, we have unstructured interview, we talk to these many we have a cases, and we talk to women, and we ask what about physical violence, psychological violence. So actually we are trying to develop a construct or concept called violence, that is exploratory. Quantitative and qualitative example. So see here, because this is also very important. One example, retirement. How many retired folk takes on part-time jobs after retirement? So there was a one survey. Then how people adjust to retirement, how they think about this phase of their lives, the process they engage in when moving from full-time work to retirement, and so on and so forth. So on the one side, how many people retired and go for part-time jobs after retirement? So we have data that out of 2000 people, those who got retired recently, uh, 500 600 people go for part-time job after it they get retired. This is the one kind of survey, quantitative research. Then come to a qualitative research, how people adjust. So this cannot be in terms of yes, no, this cannot be in terms of one or two. So how people adjust to retirement. So people, you need to talk to people, what you do after retirement. I know it's very difficult for you to stay at home. So how they think now, because this is a, people generally call it second innings. So in second innings, because you have limited money now, so and now you have a lot of time. So how do you live? Are you happy? Because now at this point of time when you got retired, uh, what you're looking for? You're looking for money. You're looking for people, those who will be around and will be talking to you. What you need? So now when you got retired, what happens? You are alone. So your social circle is less now. So now psychologically you're weak. So what you need? You need people around, those who are constantly, consistently talking to you. So the process they engage in when moving from full-time work to retirement. So this is not a quantitative question. This is a qualitative question. This we have discussed. Here you see descriptive, that already we have discussed in the last class. And then explanatory, causal research, you can say, how and why, understanding the reason behind. This is one example, right? Now, very, very important thing. See here, the whole research process. I request you all, please note down, because if you understand this, my work is done. So you have research process, you explore something, you went through a review of literature. Now you have a research questions, and research questions may come from newspaper, may come from annual report, or may come from review of literature, and or you saw some logic and you feel that logic you want to check whether the same logic, same phenomena works in your organization, in your college, or in your faculty or not. The second part here you see research design. So after research question, review of literature or a theory, you have a lot of questions in your mind. You explore something and then you come to second. Now, which research method you go for? How you select that who gonna be your respondent? And very important thing, as we have operationalized the term called violence. Violence has been operationalized in terms of physical, sexual, financial, social, legal. Now question arises how to calculate this physical violence, how to calculate this financial violence. So how to operationalize these variables? So now we have physical variable, physical violence variable, financial violence variable, social violence variable. So how to operationalize it? That is a main problem. So now you understand these terms, you have defined all these terms. Now you have research proposal with you. So this consists of research proposal, and then what you can do once you got this proposal from government, or you are looking for your MPhil or PhD, go ahead. Now you have operationalized your variables, you have questionnaire, test that questionnaire with pilot testing that people actually respond to your questionnaire or not. If not, then ask why they are not responding, or maybe they don't understand your questionnaire the way you have defined your question, they don't understand that. So pilot study will help you to to give you some confidence that you have done a good job in terms that people understand what you are looking for, people understand what question you ask. Collect data, analyze data, and then finally you have research output or outcome. This is basically a research process, but here you see very systematically I have defined we have three kinds of research: explanatory, descriptive, and exploratory. Now in exploratory, when you write research objectives, what you will be writing? How you will start writing your research objectives? So if you are going to explore something, always use these terms only, because these are standardized scientific way of designing or talking about research objectives, how to define, how to write research objectives in exploratory, how to write objectives, research objective in descriptive, how to write research objectives in explanatory. So see here, if you are going for exploratory research, which is basically a qualitative research, you understand. So how you will write your research objectives? First, to understand why after retirement people, what they do, to discover a new phenomena, to explore how people survive after they get retired. So this is what exploring something. Now second, descriptive research. When you are conducting or doing a descriptive research, what kind of research objective you should ask? So here you see you need to write your research objective with these terms, to know a particular phenomena, to study a particular phenomena, for example college or schools, to describe these many students, these many male female, these many classroom, to find out that in total this college consists of how many people, how many books, how many what do you call rooms. So this is the way, scientific way of writing research objectives. And finally, causal research or explanatory research. So in causal, what we are doing? We are analyzing, we are explaining, we are examining, we are investigating, and we are evaluating. So when you read these objective, you can predict, you can estimate that you are talking about exploratory, you are talking about explanatory, or you are talking about descriptive research. Here you see descriptive, you collect data. Explanatory, causal, you collect data. But in exploratory, it's not in terms of data, but in terms of information. So I hope this is a very special slide. This is a very special slide. Now you understand how to write research objectives. Now, very important thing. A lot of students ask, they have a one question, sir, if I am going for qualitative research, do I need to define hypothesis? So what are the ingredients, what are the steps in quantitative research, what are the different steps in qualitative research? So see here very clearly, quantitative research, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, all these theory, research questions, hypothesis, operationalize, measurement, data collection, sampling, data analysis, findings, and finally theory. This is your deductive or quantitative research. Now comes to the another research, which is basically a qualitative research. In qualitative, let us check, do we need to write hypothesis? So we start with 2. So 2 is research questions, you see, and from directly 2 to go to 8. So these all in between things has disappeared. Hypothesis is not there. So in inductive, you have research questions, collect answer through interview and structured questionnaires, right? And then go to data analysis, and 10, here you see finally we are going for 1. So here we end with 1, here we start with 1. See the difference. In quantitative, we understand what is theory, but in inductive or qualitative, we propose the theory. This is the basic difference. So this is the scientific way of step by step conducting a research, and before that, this was scientific way of defining or writing your research objectives. Right? So let us take now 5-minute break, and then we'll continue, and we need to go a bit fast today so that we can finish our discussion today. Okay, everybody, let me see your reflection. Okay, so now you understand how to write research objectives, and step by step, what are the various steps to write a proposal for qualitative research, and step by step how to go and write research for quantitative research. I hope this is clear, very much clear to all of you. So what we need to do, the first thing, how to get an idea with some justification that this is the research questions or this is the research problem. From research problem, research questions, then research objectives, and then a proposal, write a proposal step by step. If you're writing qualitative, the steps we already have discussed, you can see 2, 8, 9, 10, 1, or if you are in quantitative, you have to go through all the steps. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now here, before you go and talk about your research, you need to understand what is the unit of analysis. The unit of analysis may be, if you're talking about school student, college student, so unit would be a student of a college, student of a school, right? If you're talking about a country, so unit would be a country. So for example, we are interested in studying people's shopping behavior, their learning outcome, or their attitude to new technology, then unit of the analysis would be the buyer or a individual. If you want to study characteristic of street gang or teamwork in an organization, so here instead of an individual, we are talking about a group, team, or a gang, right? So if the goal of research is to understand how firms can improve profitability or make good executive decisions, then a unit of analysis would be a one firm. So you need to understand that what is the unit, on what basis you are going to conduct, what is that basic unit that would be a main point to develop a logic or give you some kind of understanding that this is the basic unit. On the basis of that, that would be a basic response, from where you will get a basic response and how you will, what you will define. So here you will define individual, you will define an organization, you're going to define a firm. Let us go step by step. So first step is concept. Concept you already know, we already have discussed concept. Here let me define it more precisely. With this example, I hope you can see, when we talk about our weight or our height, it's very precise that weight remain weight, height remain height of a person. So person's weight, everybody know, if a doctor asks you to what is your weight, or anyone asks you what is your weight, so you have now one parameter to measure your weight. So your weight remain weight. Now whosoever is asking you what is your weight, whether it's a doctor or common man, the concept remains same. I hope you understand this. So whenever you see any phenomena and with one dimension you can define it, it is called simple concept or lower order abstraction. On the other hand, in social science, this is the issue, this is the problem. For example, communication skills. Now person's communication skills is not made of just one dimension. It is made of vocabulary, syntax, spelling, accent, lot of things are there. So this is basically a high order abstraction. So whenever you see any phenomena, you need to see whether it's a one-dimensional phenomena or a multi-dimensional phenomena. If it's a one-dimensional phenomena, there is no issue. You can easily conduct a research, collect data, yes or no, something like that, and you will be able to do it. But the problem arises in social sciences, most of the phenomena are basically construct. They all are high order abstraction. Now you understand that. So this is called, for example, motivation, leadership, performance, intelligence. These all terms are constructs. These all terms are construct. Or maybe services, quality of service, a CRM, corporate social responsibility. Can we define corporate social responsibility with one dimension? No. Corporate social responsibility will have different dimension. So this is what it would be. The violence, you remember the violence case. So that is also a high order abstraction. So that is called construct. So always remember, in social science we deal with construct, and you will see very few concept, very few concept. If everything is concept, then our role as a researcher would be nil, it would be zero. But unfortunately, things in social science are so dynamic, it vary person to person to understand that particular phenomena. So these all terms are constructs. So let us move further from constructs, concept to construct. And now here you see what is proposition and what is hypothesis. So now you had research questions, research objectives, step by step. What are the steps in qualitative? What are the steps in quantitative? Then we discuss concept and then construct in social science. I hope construct and concept is clear to you. Next is proposition and hypothesis. So on the one side we have constructs, on the other side we have variables. Violence was a construct, but physical violence was a variable. Got it? Because now you need to clear which violence you are talking about. So if there is a relationship between constructs or among constructs, that is called proposition. So conceptually, when we define a particular phenomena conceptually, it is called proposition. For example, intelligence is a one construct A, relationship with the performance. So performance is construct B, right? So whatever relationship we define between these two constructs is called proposition. But construct A, which is intelligent, we can measure that intelligent with IQ. So IQ is, here you can see, variable. On the other hand, performance may be in terms of marks, so that would be another variable. So two variable, when they are independent or dependent variable, and relationship between independent variable and dependent variable, here you can see, is called hypothesis. And this is basically a quantitative plane. This is an empirical plane, and here actually we have operationalized the construct. Construct are A and B. Constructs were intelligent and performance, and performance we measure with marks, that is a dependent variable. So, and construct A is intelligence. Intelligence we measure with IQ. So if you have IQ level is high, dependent variable is your marks. Your marks would be high or not. So here you can measure it because it's an empirical plane. So now I hope you understand very clearly. Hypotheses are made of variables. What kind of variable relationship you have? On the other hand, when you read a particular article, research paper or PhD or MPhil thesis, propositions are made of constructs. Constructs are clear now, and variables are also clear to all of you. And let us go further and define variables. Variables are the quantity that can vary low to high, negative or positive, right? So that we already have defined. Types of variable: independent variable, dependent variable. So independent variable, for example, price is independent, right? So income independent, price independent. So because of price, the demand of a particular product may increase or decrease. So demand is your dependent variable. Dependent on what? Independent variable called price. So price goes up, demand comes down. Price comes down, demand goes up, right? So demand will vary as per the independent variable. So here independent variable explain the other variable called variables, right? It is also called independent variable. Dependent variable, those that are explained by the independent. So demand is explained by price. So very simple example. I hope now you understand. Mediating variable, those that are explained by independent variables while also explaining dependent variables. So I will explain this with one example. Moderating variable, those that influence the relationship between independent and dependent variable. So mediating variable actually affecting the independent variable, but moderating variable, what they do, they are influencing the relationship between. So with one example, let me explain this concept to all of you. Now you see here the same example, intelligence. So on the one side we have intelligence, independent variable. If you are highly intelligent, what will be the chances? Your earning potential would be high. Very simple. You will be earning good money if you are an intelligent guy, right? So your performance, your earning capacity is based on one variable which is called independent variable. It is intelligence. How intelligent you are? It will help you to enhance your earning potential. So your earning would be dependent on what? One variable. You can say if you are intelligent, your earning would be high. So earning is dependent on intelligent, right? So this is dependent variable, earning potential, intelligence is independent variable. Oh, sorry. Now, what about academic achievement? Do you think that if you are scoring good marks and you have high level of degree, your earning potential would be very high? Can you say like this? So some people will say not sure, sir, because a lot of students, those who secure good marks, they may not be achieving good goal, they may not be achieving a score in terms of earning potential, right? So academic may affect, but we are not sure about it, right? Okay, so this is mediating efforts. If you put more efforts, it's very simple thing. If you are hardworking, if you put more and more efforts, definitely if you are intelligent and putting more efforts, the score would be high. I hope you understand this, right? So moderating what would be actually impacting more on earning potential on dependent variable. If it is this is missing, right, then there would be a harm. If this is missing, you are not sure about it, right? But here, if this is missing, you are sure that if you are intelligent and not putting efforts, your earning potential would not be high. If you are intelligent, putting efforts, you are sure that your earning potential would be high. So I hope with this example, moderating variable, mediating variable, independent variable, dependent variable is clear to all of you. So we are disclosing, we are talking about each and every step when you are approaching to work on a research topic, research. So you understand research problem, research questions, research objectives. We discuss proposition, then hypothesis, concept, construct, variable, and now you see what is the relationship between all possible variables. So we have four kind of variable: independent, dependent, mediating, and moderating variables. Now you understand these terms. So propositions is a tentative. So this we have already have discussed that when there is a relationship between construct, it's proposition. An increase in student intelligence cause an increase in their academic achievement. Simple proposition. Hypothesis, empirical formulation, right? So here see this difference. Here it's a IQ score, but in this it was intelligence, right? And academic. Here it's a IQ and achievement, right? So grade points, basically IQ and grade points average. So here we are actually operationalizing the variable or constructs. So hypotheses are made of variable, propositions are made of constructs. So I have a lot of example on hypothesis, so you can see and read. Let me go slow, you can later read this. It will help you to understand what is the problem with the hypothesis here. Is there any issue in these two statements or these three statements? Theory that we already have discussed, so I'm not going to discuss it. Theory of agency, so this basically give you a justification. This give you a logic that okay, agency theory, what is this agency theory? Relationship between servant and owner, right? So this is theory of innovation diffusion theory. We already have discussed theory. These are some theoretical theories, please go through whenever you have time. So I have given here. And then finally a model. Basically you propose a model that I will be using this kind of variables, I will be using this kind of data, and I will be proposing you this kind of study system. So while a theory tries to explain a phenomena, a model tries to represent a phenomenon. Very simple thing. So you represent a particular phenomena with your data, with your information. Now you see, just see a PhD thesis, they would have given some kind of model. So they show a particular phenomena. According to my research, this phenomena look like this, right? So we have discussed this deductive, inductive. So if you want to read more, you can go through these slides, examples. It will help you to understand more about deductive than inductive. This we already have discussed. So, but these will give you some more clarification. Here you see, when you go for a research, this is the process of building a model. So here you have inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning from logical or theory, empirical from data, some conclusion you develop, and finally you propose a final model. Relationship among all variables, right? Different premises, different argument you develop, and finally propose a model that whatever we observe, on the basis of that, I feel this relationship is like this. Simple, very simple. So we can propose a model. And last, today we'll discuss research questions, because you remember we have a problem, then we define research objectives. Here we have a research questions. For example, first question is, what factors motivate consumers to purchase goods and services online without knowing the vendor of these goods or services? So you have one question. Is it discount? Is it you trust this online platform? Or it has become tradition now, it's very prevalent, it has become practice now that a lot of people they are buying. So you are also, into same field, you are into a same format, that you are also planning to buy things online. So this is one research question. How can we make high school student more creative? Very difficult question. Why do some people commit terrorist act? Another, you cannot have yes or no in this. You need to talk, you need to discuss, and then you can see that this is the answer. How can firm innovate? These all are, qualitative kind of questions. And here you see review of literature. I'm not going to talk about, because it's not in your research. That is the same we already have discussed. Actual reality, presumed reality, observe, this we already have discussed. So we'll discuss what we have not discussed, that is reliability and validity, and that we will discuss in the next unit 3. So thank you very much for joining today. We'll continue in next class with unit 3.